So we just finished up or just started a new training cycle this week. It was pretty good. It's pretty amazing. Has me feeling exactly where I want to feel, and that's like I'm getting some volume in during this bulk. Kind of normally just lift heavy for short reps, but this time I'm going to try to do some high reps this go. So our rep count was pretty high. I love programming, man. So getting to try out a new version. The last cycle, 10-week cycle, was a brand new training style that I had just incorporated, never done it before. I think we got massive results between our PRs for our squat, deadlift, bench, shoulder press, um, and hip thrust. So everybody's numbers just skyrocketed off of the last program. Again, I enjoy programming, man. It's like my thing. It's the bread and butter to being able to grow and have progressive overload throughout training. We switch up every 10 weeks for the most part right now. So you're staying in a cycle and you're being able to see yourself grow. You know, nothing to take away from coaches that like to change the training style every single week or every day you come in, but there's no continuity. You don't get to see your growth as much. So I know if last week I squatted and I did these movements consistently over a period of time, that I'll see growth, and that's progressive overload, and that's how you get someone to feel like they're having sometimes not non-scalable wins, man. um and it might not happen every week, but at the end of that training cycle, if you did exactly what you were supposed to do because you knew what kind of training, uh, macro cycle or micro cycle you were trying to do in that moment, then that client should be able to get their results, and you should be able to get that. And I think that gets missed very often. And people just help people burn calories, but those calories aren't going to the body shape that this individual may want. So we really try to focus in on that. If you're in my elite group, it's kind of a selfish group. It's focused on what I'm really looking to change and where I'm going within my prep. It's why it's called the Prep Life Evolve group. So we're constantly in prep for something, not necessarily a bodybuilding show, but some type of. I'm probably going to do some level of a competition. So right now we're focusing on negatives, right? In the descending portion. So negatives are when you have a spotter with you for all your reps. Um, so right now we are doing squats, incline bench press, pull up, weighted pull ups, good mornings, and shoulder press for our negative portion of our lift. So I try to control the weight. I'm having all my athletes control the weight on the descending portion. So if you're squatting on the down, you're nice and slow and controlled. On the way up, when you're supposed to contract that contractile portion of the lift, your partner is going to give you as much assistance as they can, right? You shouldn't be really feeling too much of that weight. I only want you feeling anywhere from 10 to 25% of the weight. Um, and there's just like that Newton's law of every force uh, has that opposite, equal, or even greater reaction. So if my body can control, right now we're at 92% this week, 92.5% of our one rep maxes. If my body can control for 6 reps, 92% of the maximum weight that I can do at a very slow descend, and I feel it still because I'm loading my central nervous system up. So neuromuscularly, my muscles still feel like, hey, we have to do something, even though I'm getting that assistance up. Eventually, when we shift and we transition to the next cycle, when we are starting to do more contractile style training, then we'll see, hey, man, I was able to lift at 6 reps at 92%. And we'll build all the way up to about 103% during this 6 weeks portion of the cycle. And then I think the additional 4 weeks of being that contractile to see exactly if we had any growth just in that time frame. So again, I enjoy programming. I enjoy looking at those things and trying to help myself and my athletes learn just different variations, different nuances of training and how to have the body adapt to stressors. And that's what our body uh, goes through, that stress cycle, that breakdown, that rebuilding stronger, and that formulates the body and the muscle density and the toneness that people are looking for. I try to also educate people on, I wrote it the other day, a myth is that cardio is the only way to lose weight. Well, weight training can eliminate a lot of body fat, man. One, you're building your lean muscle tissue, especially if you're adequately getting in the right amount of protein intake, because we're breaking down protein when we're training. That's what your muscles are, they're protein fibers, right? Um, so if we're breaking them down, we need to be able to have a replenished source or a source of it to go back in. So we need to be consuming the right amount, but breaking that muscle down and it rebuilding, man, it starts to eliminate fat and it starts to be like, hey, we need to be able to move these things. Our joints, your muscles create joint action. So your joints want to be able to do this because the ligaments and tendons start to have this tension. And it's like, hey, we have to be able to pull this thing up. This guy's telling us he wants to be able to pick this thing up, or this young lady's telling us they want to be able to push this thing over. But my joints, that ligament um, junction, right? Right there where that ligament meets the bone and the tendon and all of those things and the muscle, well, right in that action potential, it's like, hey, we need to be able to do something and we're not strong enough to do that yet. We're going to try to get more fibers and we're going to recruit and we're going to break this down and rebuild this structure back up. It's almost like gentrification of your joints, right, and your muscles. So they break muscle down to help rebuild it so that this joint can make this action that cause you to be able to be kinesthetic through life with movement, right? Um, so this training cycle, we will end this 2 days before Christmas Eve, and then another training cycle will start, I think, January 3rd. And that training cycle is going to be a big dog training cycle. We're going to be trying to lift super duper heavy on some portions, but getting in a nice amount of conditioning. I'm going to be transferring over to starting to come into a little mini cut. It'd be right before prep, trying to sustain, but get down to a better weight that I'm not stressing my body out for 16 weeks of actual prep. Um, but training's been going good. We're trying to stay away from injuries. So as much as you walk into the gym and you have something set in mind and you might be like, hey, I'm supposed to lift at 90%. Well, you're 75%. Some days might feel like you're 90, and just respect the body. As long as you can move and you're able to train, I say stay with that. Don't get lost in the sauce of trying to do exactly what the program has written out, and I have to tell myself that sometimes. I have to tell my athletes that. But the one thing I'm always going to do is go to the gym. I'm always going to train. It's always a training day, because even if I'm injured, there's a body part that isn't being affected from that injury, and can I move that body part to get blood circulation, to have a good life, to not allow things to get stagnant and start having atrophy or whatever may come from that stagnation. But I want to move. Movement is medicine, man. Get outside, get your vitamin D, get some grounding going. um, Take that ice plunge, do whatever you need to do to just spark your life back up. But I'm staying in the gym every day of the week. uh, what else we got going on? Yeah, so that's that about my training cycle, man. If you guys are ever interested and you're in Orlando and you want to come try out the gym, man, we got three different variations of our gym. We got beginner, intermediate, and our intermediate is like, I like to say, like high school tier one. What they call it, Power Five, Division One is our strength and conditioning, and then you have the pro level pro shit that my class and my group does. My group has about 4 openings for our max capacity. So if you're interested and you feel like you're a top tier athlete and you feel like you want to change your training style and really get some great results and effectiveness from this training style. If you've ever been here and I told you to pull up and you've trained with us, it's something different. That I don't care who it is, man. I might have a lot of females at the gym training, but guys, girls, we train. We don't work out. We actually get after it. So come check us out. Come try us out. 6649 Amory Court, Winter Park, Florida 32792. We are there. We are going into year 6. We are thriving. We want you to be a part of the team. Don't miss out. We're doing online programming too. So if you just want to do this programming at your own pace, in your own gym, confines of your own space, we can do that as well. DM me for more information. If you're looking to do virtuals because you're not in Orlando and you still want to train with me and do one-on-one training, I'm offering that as well. So let's make this year one of our greatest years, right? We're finishing up this fourth quarter and you can still end it successfully. So Don't miss out. Tune in. Stay tuned to what we got going on. And if you got any questions or inquiries, please don't hesitate to contact me.